today. I gave him an off day today. We're just preparing when the smoke clears, so to speak, which we know it will. And it's not going to affect his performance because you have to remember just his last fight with Rodriguez, due to surgery, he was off 11 months and it didn't affect his performance at all. He's a type that's going to always, because of his competitiveness, he's going to always be in condition and just keeps going more and more. Actually, this is a bad time for us as opponents because we constantly work and invent new things, so he's still developing. He's not sitting idle. Doesn't have any bad habits. He doesn't run the street, don't drink, don't do anything. So his best years are ahead of him. So that's why we feel comfortable in this fight that we're in right now.
There is a Russian middleweight, Gennady Golovkin, that's been calling him out, but all of a sudden recently his promoter says that the fight with Ward doesn't make financial sense. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't think you can show me one article where Gennady Golovkin has called Andrei Ward out. Not one, because it doesn't exist. And what his promotional company was saying that he would fight, Abel Sanchez was saying that he would fight anyone from 160 to 178, 168 to 154. So we issued the challenge 4 times. And then these are the reasons that they use. You know, they feel like they still have unfinished business at middleweight, and they wanted to stay middleweight. They felt like Quillen and some other middleweights were there for them in the taking before they decided that they wanted to move up. Yet it was funny when they thought they had Chavez on the table, they were ready to move up to 168.
Right.
But then when that fight didn't go through, now we hear this. So we're the ones that have issued the challenge, and the reason why is because Abel Sanchez said he would fight anyone from 160 to 168. So he said, okay, well, let's fight. But, you know, I don't knock any, this is a business, right? And they can't afford to have him in a fight like that right now and kill the mystique that he is developing in the fan base that he's building. And if I was with him, if he and I were together, I would be doing the same thing. I wouldn't bring him in the presence of a fighter that can fight so many different ways and subject him to a loss, so to speak. And that's not disrespecting him, this is boxing. But I'm saying the chance that they would have to take, of course we're taking a chance too. But we're willing to take that chance and risk. But I understand. He's learning the language, and he's building a fan base, and they're going about it smart. And the more recognition and popularity he gets is better for both fighters. So if you're going to have a fight of that magnitude, make sure everybody's compensated. So I'm in agreement with him.
But if they were try to make that fight, would Andre and you be willing to go at the catch weight, like what, say 164?
No.
No.
No. Because they already made the statement that they would fight anybody from 154 to 168. Now you take Chad Dawson, for instance. When he issued the challenge after he fought Hopkins, he said he would have no problem making 168. He said, I've been thinking about going to 168, and I'll go to 168 to fight Andrei Ward, right? But then after the fight was over, we hear a whole lot of other different things. I killed myself making the weight, and this and that and the other. Well, the fact is, he was 18 pounds heavier than us fight night. So, you know, you still had a weight advantage.
Right. Now, in the past couple of years, you have experienced a great increase in your business. I see a lot of fighters, top fighters coming in here. One of them that I'm very interested in is Alfredo Angulo. I spoke to Alfredo after his fight with Canelo, but how do you feel? Should have referees stopped that fight?
Well, you know, I don't think he should have stopped it on one punch, because I told Tony Weeks in between the rounds that if Alfredo got hit with 2 to 3 punches, I would stop the fight. I told the doctor that. So one punch, I don't think he should have stopped it, but at the same time, you know, you have to respect his position. You know, he's closer to the action than anybody. So he doesn't want that, you know, that jacket on him where he was a little late. Better to be too soon than too late. So, you know, I respect his call. And then the fact was, you know, Alfredo was dead in that fight. I mean, he literally had to kill himself to make the weight. You know, he just was not prepared in that short length of time to fight to the best of his abilities. So, in that saying that in hindsight, I have no argument with Week stopping the fight.
So you didn't think Alfredo had any chance that we would never find out how it would end if they didn't stop it?
Well, I mean, look, you can always say anything could have happened, right? But I mean, 9 rounds and 3 to go. I think that should have been under consideration, being that he can deliver a punch out of nowhere that can, you know, if not end the fight, just about end the fight. But it is what it is. I mean, you know, he took a lot of punches from round 1 every round. I was enthused about 6, 7, and 8 because he won those rounds on all 3 judges' scorecards. So it did show that he was starting to come back, and he did tell me he was starting to settle in after the 6th round, you know. And Canelo, with his history of slowing up, he was on the back foot. And, you know, it's just interesting. It was too bad we can't get another chance, and he's right. He was on the back foot. You've not seen him on the back foot with anybody. But he still was on the back foot of a man he was landing punches on every round. So Alfredo basically, as a dead man, was walking through his punches. But nobody wants to see anybody, particularly me, get hit like that, you know, round in and round out. It's just not good.
You got a few young fighters in your gym. Has anybody caught your attention above all, as far as your fighters here?
The young amateur fighters?
No, young professionals.
Levon, I'm really high on Levon. I think this time next year, I expect him to be on Showtime. You know, I think his time is coming. Particularly after he's acclimated to the American style, which he's adapted to pretty quick. He was a lazy fighter when he first came. I had to find that out, and basically had to stand over him to get him in the proper condition. But, you know, some guys are worth standing over when you see the ability. And then he's a long way from his wife and his daughter. And once you find out the history, you know, every fighter's not the same. Some you have to stand over. He's one. But I always felt that if he was in tip-top physical condition and kept it going, and now we got the luxury of doing that, his wife just got a visa. So she's going to be coming over here, not this fight, but after this next fight. So now we have an opportunity to keep him here and continue to build him after fights and after fights. And he's adapting real quick. He came out the same academy that Golovkin and Kovalev come out of. If you look at their styles, all of them are very similar. So I'm high on him. But my 2 amateurs, the ones that I started from scratch, the ones I'm really high on.
What are their names?
Fala, he's Palestinian, I can't pronounce his last name for nothing. And I got a heavyweight, Marlo Moore, that I can't get anybody to spar with, let alone get a fight. And he's 6'3", 225. I'm going to turn him pro at the end of next year. I think he's going to make a lot of noise. He's very fundamentally sound. He started from scratch, so that makes a difference. You know, in this system, I don't have to reprogram it.
Most of the guys that I talk to in the gym, they call you a teacher as opposed to disciplinarian or whatever. How did you come out with that style? Or do you call yourself a teacher?
Well, You know what? I respected the game when I started training fighters. I come from a different era. For instance, today, all you got to do is go apply for a boxing license. Say I'm a boxing coach, and they say, "Well, give me $50." You know, you got a license. You know, give me say you got a license. So it's a lot of people who starting out fighters or really messing with fighters that really shouldn't be doing it. But I was always taught to respect the game, and in my day, if you came to the old Oakland gyms and you said you were a trainer and you had a fighter and they didn't know who you were, you couldn't train that fighter there because the reputation of the gym is on the line. You know, you don't want your gym to be known as a gym with losers coming out of it. So they don't know you and who you are, and you could train him somewhere else, But I served an apprenticeship under 4 trainers that the world will never know, but I thought the world of, and was instrumental in all the great Oakland fighters. Well, one is still alive, Bobby Warren, and he's 84, and he's still training fighters. As a matter of fact, he's working with Santiago out there. But I served like a 6-year apprenticeship under all 4 of them. So I learned different styles, I learned different ways of doing things, and then, I put it all together for myself, and they encourage you to start out somebody from scratch, you take them from the root to the fruit, so you have time to go over things, troubleshoot, and go over your mistakes and things with a young kid and building to, and that's what I did.
The last question is, I saw you yesterday at the fight card and yelling out commands and Ricardo. It makes me feel like you still have a lot of passion for the game. How do you maintain it? Because it's your job.
Well, I love it. Number one, it's not a job. Every day I come here, I'm happy. Look, I never saw this, 25 years ago. I knew I could develop a world-class fighter, but I never saw this. So in that sense, I'm very happy, and will continue to do so as long as I'm able to do it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate
All
it.
right.